Today I'm reviewing this 4-inch Quaser recessed light kit, and it comes in a nice colorful package. Looks very professional, something you'd expect to find on any shelf in any big box store. It measures 5 inches by 2.5 by 5 inches in size. And there's some information here about the color temperatures that are selectable, some installation instructions built into the box itself. Let's go ahead and open this up, take a look inside. And we've got a couple different things here. We've got a template for cutting the hole for the light, the LED driver box itself with the color temperature selector. We've got 2700 Kelvin, 3000, 3500, 4000, and 5000 Kelvin. So not super bright white. It's not quite to what I would consider daylight, which would be 6500 Kelvin, but it's a nice selection of colors. It does come with some pressure fit wire nuts. I'm not a huge fan of these. I always use just some Wagos, which I will use today. And we've got our power supply and our grounding cable all connected here. And we have a screw-on connector, which is a 3-pin. So there's probably a little bit of data going through this as well, versus just the power. Inside this plastic bag, we have the light itself, kind of a standard pancake style. These clips have a lot of pressure on them. I almost feel like these springs are a little too strong. Could potentially see this causing some damage to drywall going into the hole and holding on. So I kind of wish these were a little bit weaker on the springs. I do see a gasket here, which should help if you're using this in a damp area such as a bathroom to keep some of that moisture from getting into your ceiling through that hole. The connection here should be fairly straightforward. It is keyed. It will only go in one way. So you go ahead, you press it in. I do see a little washer here. Again, should help with any type of moisture to make sure it doesn't short out. And you twist to close. Inside the box is also a user manual, which is very basic. I'll go ahead and take a picture of this, put that in the review as well. I'll get this wired up to a temporary extension cord so we can take a look at the way it looks, see how much power this draws, and we'll finish that review. And as you can see, I'm back. I have taken a computer power supply cable, and I've stripped the ends to be able to use this as a plug. And I've got my, what I was mentioning, my lever nuts that I'm more comfortable using. We're going to go ahead and disconnect this light really quickly. And we're going to use one of these knockouts here to be able to get the power wire in. Some of these are easier to do than others. This one, you just push in with your finger. You can see it wasn't too difficult. Wiggle it a few times to weaken the metal, and that comes out. And to be safe and more up to code, you want to use one of these wire clamps. Very simple to do. It does not come with this. I don't think I've ever seen a LED driver come with one. I do wish they did. It's an inexpensive item, maybe 70 cents. But you definitely want to do this. This will protect your power cord from getting damaged or eventually actually cutting through and shorting out, and could be very dangerous. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this clamp onto the side of the LED driver box. And this, later on we're going to tighten these screws up to keep the wire in place so it's not going to shift around. And we're going to go ahead and feed these wires through here. Your results may vary here. I am not always the most efficient here. I'm going to go ahead, and now we're pulling the cable in, and we're going to attach the wire nuts. I always use the logo to go on the power supply. So I'm going to take these wires, and we're going to go ahead and put these in really quick. Then we're going to go ahead and get the hot. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and get the neutral. And then we're going to open up the other side of all three of these, or you can do them one at a time. And we're going to connect the LED driver box. So the bare is going to be your ground, then neutral to neutral, and finally hot to hot. We now have this set up as a plug-in light. This does need to be tightened up. I will do that. And what I'm going to do is we can go ahead and close this up, and we'll go ahead and connect the little, I like to call pigtails, to make sure this is done nice and proper. And I'll go ahead and bring our energy meter in, and we'll see how much power this is going to draw, and then we'll get an idea of the look and feel based off the different temperatures. And as you can see, I now have the power meter and have the light hooked up. We're going to go ahead and plug this in. And as you can see, it's a fairly bright light. I'm getting a 10 watt draw. This was rated at 9 watts, so that's reasonable for losses. This is 2700 Kelvin, so you can see the color temperature on this white piece of paper. And I'll go to the next color temperature of 3000 Kelvin. Power draw remains the same. And we'll go up to 3500 Kelvin. The power reading is kind of fluctuating now between 9 and 10, so it went down slightly at the 3500 Kelvin. We'll go to 4000 Kelvin. It's now sadly at 10 watts again. And finally to the coolest at 5000 Kelvin. Again, we're stable at the 10 watt. So I do see a slight energy savings if you stick to the 3500 Kelvin right in the middle. Looks like there might be a half watt or so of efficiency there. Overall, this seems like a quality product. Again, you do have this gasket for damp areas. I like how it's got the twist to lock with the little rubber seal as well. Again, I've never seen any of them come with the cable clamps. Make sure you pick some of these up to protect your dwelling. But I see no problems with this particular surface mount recessed light. I would recommend a 3500 Kelvin. If you like that color temperature, there's a slight energy savings. I would go ahead and rate this 5 out of 5 stars.